thank you for your attendance. My name is Jeff Turner. I'm the Commissioner of Tonga Police. As you're aware, on Sunday the 19th of July 2026, 3 males escaped from police custody at approximately 19:30 or 7:30 p.m. Liuaki Fungalai Kokohuvi, aged 35 years, a New Zealand citizen of Tongan descent. Adam Zabid Hussein, aged 35 years, a Fijian national. And a 16-year-old male who was subsequently recaptured by police in the early hours of Tuesday, the 21st of July 2026 at Maraika. Today I'm here asking for public assistance in locating Liuaki V and Adam Hussein. I am also announcing a reward of up to 5,000 top for information that leads to the arrest and capture of these two individuals. For clarity, the reward money is up to 5,000 panga for each individual, but the information must result in their recapture. The police operation for this is known as Operation Trace, and information can be relayed to 922 or mobile phone number 740-1656. The mobile number is also available 24 hours a day. As per our Facebook notice, please do not approach these individuals, but contact police as soon as possible. I would also like to remind the public that aiding and abetting under Section 8 of the Criminal Offences Act carries a penalty of up to 10 years, and harbouring fugitives is also a criminal offence under Section 13 of the Criminal Offences Act for a penalty of up to 3 years, and you will be charged. I also understand that there will be rightly questions relating on how these people could escape from police custody. The Integrity Unit of the Tonga Police, the Professional Standards Unit, are undertaking a parallel investigation into this event. This set of circumstances can range from internal corruption through to an opportunistic escape and everything in between. I will not comment on the progress of this internal investigation, as due process must be observed. What I will say is we will apply the law equally to all involved, and where it is supported by evidence, we will take the appropriate action. In summary, we are seeking your assistance in locating V and Hussein so they can be returned to custody. Thank you to the media today for attending, and as we spoke about recently, you have an obligation to report the news as well as an opportunity here to assist us in this endeavour. I appreciate that you will want to ask questions, and where I can I will answer, but I also must balance this with the integrity of the operation and to state that I cannot comment on the lines of inquiry we are currently undertaking. So thank you for coming, and where I can I will answer some questions.
Thank you very much, Police Commissioner, for the statement made. Can you clarify where the prisoners escaped from and what was the witnesses? Was it a security error, or was it human error?
I think there's a couple of things, Marion. I mean, the escapees came from Central Police Station. We had actually previously identified a potential risk in relation to the security of the cells, and we'd actually already arranged a meeting with a company to actually alleviate this, which is due on the 3rd of August, and unfortunately this happened before we could put that process in place to upgrade the cells and the security down there.
In the individual cases that these prisoners were locked up, can you clarify or explain more into this?
Look, to a certain extent, I mean, V is one in relation to passport fraud, as is Hussein. The young individual was being held in custody for theft-related offences.
You also mentioned in your latest report that there is a high risk in one of them. What risk are we talking about?
Look, I think at the end of the day, that this individual has links to overseas that we've got concerns about, and we're working with overseas authorities in relation to that, but I can't go into further detail.
Given that this happened at your Nuku'alofa branch, given that this escape happened at the Nuku'alofa branch, what work are you doing to upgrade and improve your security and of keeping the prisoners in prison?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. As I said beforehand, we've actually arranged to meet with a company on the 3rd of August. This was put in place before the escape, but unfortunately the timings, this has actually happened in the interim. So, you know, our budget has been allocated by the government this year. We had funding allocated to us. We're not seeking additional funding. There is funding within our envelope to fix this particular issue, and we're working with a South African-based company with a lot of experience in this space, and we'll work through this in the next couple of weeks on what this looks like.
Thank you, Police Commissioner. Just wondering about the 15-year-old that was reapprehended by the police. Where was his whereabouts? Where exactly was he reapprehended by the police?
I'm sorry, I can't hear your question over the rain, so feel free to come forward so I can hear.
The 15-year-old male that was
Yeah.
reapprehended by the police. Where was his whereabouts? Exact whereabouts? Where was he apprehended?
He's apprehended at his, an address out at Mataika. Matiaki.
Any activities regarding the
What I will say is we are following lines of inquiry, but I'm not going to go into what those are, as you can understand. Yeah.
If I'm not supposed to ask this, but is there any indications they received any help from outside or inside the police force? The escapees?
I think at the end of the day, we've got to be open to every possibility. And as I said beforehand, we have a parallel investigation running internally to where the potential failings are from us on this side of the house. But to be able to walk out of a station and pretty much disappear, there's got to be outside help. So, I would be telling you a mistruth if that's not the case. But we are working on those lines of inquiry.
Police Commissioner, the question of the $5,000 reward for the public, what sort of information that would valid that $5,000 reward? Would it be a specific information that captures them, or?
It does. Look, it needs to be linked to the recapture, Lala. I mean, just an information that I think I saw this person here doesn't qualify. I mean, information that's provided that actually leads to the arrest and recapture of these individuals would qualify for that amount. And I really want to stress that has to be the outcome from the information that's provided.
And the contact number for that.
Yep, so the contact number is 922 in the first instance, but the other number is 740-1656. The operation name is Operation Trace.
Is there any indication that they have left the country somehow?
Not prepared to talk about that at this stage. We're obviously
They have left
going through a process of eliminating all those possibilities. Yep.
Oh yes, that was the question I was going to ask about alerting the ports, airports and ports on this.
Look, that would be a normal approach in any of these types of investigations, and we're obviously working with international partners as well on how we do this. So, I don't want to go into specifics, as I said beforehand, but what I can say is the investigation goes beyond the borders of Tonga itself. Yeah.
If I may, Police Commissioner, step out of the topic that we're discussing now while we have you. This is an opportunity. If I can ask about the situation of the Fahina accident that recently happened during last week, the cause of it, if it's just an accident, drive-by or hit and run, or is it drug related?
Look, I know the speculation that exists on Facebook, and one thing I've learnt in Tonga is never let the truth get in the way of a good story on Facebook. What I will say is the reports are almost complete, and I will say this is an accident, and the evidence all points towards that, but I don't want to comment further because we've got processes we must go through in relation to this for court, but the speculation that's out there is incorrect.
Lastly, outside the box, human trafficking, Tonga-China marriages. Police have only said that they're still investigating the issue. Have police identified or have confirmed that this is a human trafficking case?
Human trafficking, as you know, Marion's a really quite a defined definition on how this actually works. So we're still going through the process of this is just an arranged marriage as opposed to human trafficking. Those investigations are ongoing. What I will say, we've got very good support from His Majesty's diplomatic services from our posts in China, and also very good support from Chinese authorities on this. So what I will say is we're working in partnership with authorities here in Tonga and partnerships overseas. So, I mean, I had a recent update on where we're at, but it's too early to call this as human trafficking. There are other things that need to be considered before we can call it that case.
Quickly and lastly, with the threat that happened to my colleague here a few months ago, what's the status on that?
Yeah, look, the investigation's ongoing. It's not going probably as fast as everybody would like it to go, but what I will say is we haven't stopped, we haven't given up on it. It's not going as well as I would like it to go, and I'll be quite open about that.
Just on the escapees,
Sorry,
sorry,
it's
but
very
just
hard
on
to hear.
on the prisoners' escape, I'm not sure if you have mentioned it, but there's can you clarify now, why are they being held on? Are they were awaiting a sentence, a trial,
So
or
they
transferred?
were remanded to police custody. So V is in relation to passport fraud, as is Hussein, and the young male was remanded to police custody in relation to theft offences, and minor theft offences at that. So
CCTV operating that time?
yes.
Is there anything else that you want to discuss or reveal now besides the topic that we're here for?
No, look, I think the one thing I probably want to say, Marion, is that as Commissioner, it's really disappointing when things like this happen. And, I give this commitment to Tonga that we will not sweep this under the carpet or look for other alternatives for a story. I am committed to transparency, which is why I wanted to do this press conference in the first instance. And, where it's appropriate for timing, we will continue to update the media and the public through Facebook, or if we have to do one of these again, then I'm quite comfortable in doing so. But, as Commissioner, when things like this happen, I've been a detective for 30 years. And, one of the great things about being a detective, we always refer to it as ABC. And it's assume nothing, believe no one, and check everything. So that's the mantra for this investigation. It's nothing is off the table. Every possible scenario needs to be looked at. But as I said to you beforehand, it's not just the investigation or the recapture under Operation Trace. It's around our internal failings as well, and what that looks like and what those involvements could or could not be.
Just lastly, Commissioner, what time during the day did these prisoners escaped?
So 7:30 p.m, just after 7:30 p.m. on the Sunday.
Commissioner, this is not a question, but it's a request on behalf of the industry. If we could do more press conferences like this, not on such...
Yeah, look, I think at the end of the day, I'm open to this. If you want to schedule something monthly or fortnightly, I know that the Deputy Commissioner does a lot of radio work and things as a NOC, but I'm more than comfortable in having a press release. You can coordinate with my office on what that schedule should look like. But I want to be a transparent Police Commissioner. I've got nothing to hide, and I'm quite comfortable having these conversations with you and with the public. So you can coordinate with our office, come up with what you think is a reasonable schedule, fortnightly or monthly, to do these things. We'd ask that you give us a little bit of notice about some of the things you want to talk about, I think, in the first instance, but I'm more than open to this.
Is there any CCTV camera in Nuku'alofa Central Police? And if there are any CCTV camera, have police actively
What I will say is that CCTV forms part of any cell structure anywhere in the world. So I'll leave it at that. Okay. Malo? Thank you.